thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
No problem. You're very
Having,
welcome.
oh, sorry.
I just said you're
Uh,
very welcome.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, awesome. Well, having been a longtime fan of the band and so excited by the singles that I heard before I got the promo, I really was hoping I was going to be able to do an interview to be able to help promote this album because I love what I've heard so far from the band, and of course, with this album, I feel like some of the strongest material you guys have done to date. Like, so many of these songs feel like instant live classics already. I mean, it feels like they're just tailor made for that live setting, and just everyone being able to chant and sing along, and of course, the music just being so good as well too. I mean, it just feels like the band constantly keeps refining to create the best sounds possible, and whether you're writing a really fast 3-minute song or an epic long 8-minute long song, everything just fits so naturally on this album.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, we always try to do our best and to refine the formula, so to say. But you never know if the fans like it or not. But I'm very happy that you like it so much, and I hope as well that these songs are going to work live. Uh, we played one song live so far, which is The Order of Fear, which was pretty good, I think. But I think there are some more bangers on there that will be a lot of fun to play live.
Well, I would definitely say the opening track is such a great way to be able to start off the album. I mean, it just starts off so fast and so heavy. And, you know, there's so many bands that love to do like a little instrumental piece or something like that. And then the second track starts off. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's just so nice that as soon as you hit play on a CD player or vinyl or MP3 or whatever, it just kicks immediately right in. And I love that. I love how the album starts.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, um, the intention for this album was also to make it a little bit more raw, so to say, and a little bit more into your face. And that's why we thought, yeah, well, we actually did the intro thing on former albums, but we have so many intros right now, so oftentimes we don't know which one to use live, you know. And with this album, we just thought, well, just start.
So, thinking about that, I mean, what was it like to start writing for this album?
Well, actually, at first we were struggling a little bit because, well, we had this idea in mind to make it a little bit more raw and back to the roots, if you like. Um, but it didn't click, I have to say, at first. Um, Actually, it started clicking. I don't know if you heard the story that actually one of our biggest fans contributed to the album. The guy's name is Santi. He's been an Orden Ogan fan for such a long time. And I don't know how the contact really happened. I think, well, we were aware of him already because he did some Orden Ogan covers on YouTube and so on. And yeah, we noticed that. And I think what he did was he changed some parts a little bit. And I think actually Zeep thought, hey, well, that's better than the original. And so they got in contact somehow. And well, Zeep talked to him and asked him, well, if you have some ideas for a new Orden Ogan record, just give it to me and I will listen to it. And I think Zeep also explained a little bit that we want to go in this more, let's say, raw direction. And yeah, in the end, there were some ideas which clicked instantly, and they also became songs in the end. So he actually helped us a lot to get into the writing process. And once we had this first little border crossed, it was relatively easy, I have to say.
So, was there like a particular riff or a particular moment where you knew this was going in the right direction, or was it all just from having those conversations?
Um, well, I think you should ask Zeb about that. Well, he's not here right now because I don't know that for sure, but I think it was like some little musical ideas that the guy provided that got it rolling in the end. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's such a cool story about how that can come together, and it's just it's a really cool thing, like being able to be a fan and being able to work with a band that you admire so much, and it's so cool for him to be a part of this album in such a way and being able to leave such a mark, and I'm so glad it lit a fire under you guys as well too, because it's just
It
like
did.
burnout is real and not being able to come up with creativity is real, and of course everything that we went through with the pandemic for a few years, that's very real and can be very taxing and tolling on you. So it's completely
Absolutely.
understandable how it
Yeah.
started off rough, but I love the end result.
Yeah, we are happy as well. And as bands always say, the newest album is always the best album, but this time I really feel it. Usually I'm a little bit um, not so upfront with saying such things, but in this case, I'm pretty confident about the album and the material, and I like 90% of the songs, which is for me a lot. Usually I'm like 70, 80, because as a musician that doesn't write all the songs, I don't always love everything, but on this one, it's pretty damn close for myself. And it's the album that we want to put out as a band. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, as a musician myself, that 90% is actually pretty high, considering like most bands, like when they look at the final product, they think about, oh, I wish I could have done this riff instead, or oh, I wish we would have thrown this song out completely. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. So 90% of it, that's a really high mark.
Absolutely. I think it's 100% Orden Ogan, and the 90%, the only 90% is just my personal opinion. And that's, as you say, pretty high already. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I also just love the diversity that goes throughout the album as well too. It's just like when you got those mid-tempo songs, when you got the nice fast blazing songs, and of course I'm such a prog guy. I do love epics. So, hearing two epics at the end of the album with a nice interlude in between, like that speaks right up to me, and it gives me that reason to keep listening to the album from start to finish, because I love that ebb and flow of all of it throughout of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think some of the earlier Orden Ogan stuff was actually kind of proggy, especially on the Eastern Hope record. And we actually wanted to incorporate every element of every album that we've done so far, but always with the premise to have it like in your face. And epic, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And even while doing this, before we started, I was in the midst of getting ready to do my album review for this. And one of the things I do point
Okay.
out, I do feel like this is the perfect starter album for anyone that's not familiar with the band, for the reasons that you just said, because it feels like it touches on the beginning, the middle, and the current era of the band so far, but with brand new
Yeah.
material.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Oh, so with that in mind, I mean, of course, being able to incorporate everything that you are right now, and almost basically kind of like a self-titled album when you look at it through different languages and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
what
it
what
is.
what
Yeah.
is it like to like look back at the final product? Kind of like a self-titled album, and being able to look back at it.
What it is like. Uh, I mean, when you're in the process of writing an album, it's always work, and you never really know if it's going to work. But we usually always manage to um, provide an album that we all like and that we are absolutely happy with. Um, but then comes the phase of the first singles and first reviews, and yeah, I'm very happy that we got overwhelmingly positive reactions so far, and that's the moment when you calm down a bit, and it feels very good, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I definitely noticed that with the first single. Like, I've been seeing a lot of reaction videos to it,
Yeah.
and so much praise and comments throughout social media. And it's so great to see so many people being able to check out what's going on in 2024 and seeing the quality that's going on.
Yeah, well, actually, the first single was a little bit of a gamble because releasing kind of a ballad or power ballad, whatever you want to call it, as a first life sign of a new album, it was a little bit risky, but I think it worked out because the song itself is very strong and um, has a very personal message as well, I think. And I think people connected with that.
Oh yeah, and I really appreciated that. I mean, obviously, like I feel like almost any song could have been the first single when I listened to the album. I mean, segue interludes aside, I think any song could have been the first single on here. But the fact that you did choose that, and it's like I really felt it like in the lyrics, and the more that I listened to it, like everything started to unlock. The more I heard it, and it just felt like such a great natural choice. And of course, you made up for anyone who was thinking that you gone soft on the album with the next single. So it's just like it's a great mix and being able to show that off.
Yeah, well, of course we had to follow that up with a harder song, and yeah, but I think it worked out pretty well so far. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So with that in mind, I mean, what was it like to make the videos for these singles so far?
Um, well, video shootings are always a lot of work because usually you have limited time because most of the time you go, at least we do it like that. We shoot on location if we can. Of course, we have some green screen stuff inside as well. But when you're on location, you maybe have like 24 hours and you have to get all the shots done, including the dressing the set, putting up the lights, looking at the cameras and creating the whole thing. And to me, that's always a bit stressful. And also, what is a little bit funny for me is when you're on set and you see everything and you're looking in the other direction and there are all the cables and lights and you see the set and you think, yeah, is this really going to look great afterwards? But then Zeb comes in and our video guys come in and I'm like, yeah, well, it looks great. So in the end, it's always worth the effort, but for me, it's always kind of stressful.
Yeah, that's also the beauty of production and editing, where you would never even guess some of those things are like just right off the side of the camera lens, and just like making sure that everything's in the right direction, and just like checking out the video so far, like the fact that like maybe you only did have 24 hours to get it done, but it looks so seamless with the way it was done with the production and the editing, and of course you guys just making sure that you're camera friendly as well too. It's just like it all came together and it looks so cool.
Yeah, well, I think in the end, most of the work was done by Zeb himself, of course, like he always does. And he's got a certain idea for a certain look and a certain kind of videography in his mind. And usually, I think he achieves that very well. And it's so great to have someone leading the band that has so many talents. And but I think for him, it's the process is always a little bit stressful as well. But it's, I mean, it's always worth the effort when you look at the end product. And I hope, or well, you just said that the fans also see it like that, and that's a great thing.
Oh, absolutely. And also, I can't help but admire like everything behind you right now, like all the equipment that you got behind you. It's just so hard not to notice that and just like admire all of it. Like, did you switch anything up when it came to like your gear for this session, or have you been keeping everything the same?
Well, you have to ask Zeb about it because well, I can talk about guitars, of course. Usually, especially the solo stuff, I record at home, and he gets the DI and does reamping. So I never really know what's going on, but I know he's doing a great job always. So I trust him 100%. And yeah, this is well my little studio office corner here, and of course I have all the stuff I need if I need to or want to write a song or whatever, or put in an idea. It's very quick setup. I have everything on hand and so on. Yeah, and of course some nice tube amps, which are not that popular on the road at least, because they are heavy and they can break. But I love that stuff, yeah, it's great to have it at home and to plug it in and make some noise, disturb the neighbors.
Oh yeah, and there's some great advantages to like digital amps and being able to set everything up like that, but there's just something about the real like the real tubes and being able to get that real gear. It's just like if that can inspire you, that's always a great thing.
It is, and that's actually what I grew up with. I grew up with tube amps, but I also have to say, very quickly on, I was also adding like digital effect units, like in the loop of the amp and so on. So I never had any problems with digital in general. Or so well, you just use whatever serves the purpose. But tube amps, man, that's the real deal in the end. You just have to admit it.
Oh yeah, and especially like when you get a new amp or you get a new cabinet
Yeah,
with different kinds of speakers or wood or whatever, you want to
yeah,
be
yeah,
able to experiment with the tones and what it's capable of and what it really
yeah.
sounds like when the tubes are warmed up and what's really capable with it. I mean, there's so much fun to be had with that.
And also, I have to say, actually, let's say on a tube amp compared to a digital unit like a Kemper or XFX or whatever, actually they are limited. They're supposed to do one thing, and you have to find the sweet spot on that one thing, which can be a lot of fun. It can be not so much fun sometimes, but I really love it because of the limitations. You work differently. You're not checking out like, oh, well, this M model doesn't sound right. I go to the next one. You're working with what you have, and you always get something more special, I would say. But yeah,
Oh, I totally agree. And I definitely think for that album cycle, there's a lot of that going on, whether it is like being able to mess with your gear at home for inspiration, whether it's bringing
yeah,
fans in to be able to help with creativity and inspiration for the album, and anything that's
yeah,
bound to happen with the upcoming shows and touring and stuff. I mean, I'm glad that there's already, you're already playing one track off the album, but when the album
yeah.
hits, I'm so excited to see what that set list is going to be and seeing what songs make it onto the stage.
Yeah, well, I think it will be at least like three, maybe four songs, depending on what set length there is, for this for each festival. If it's a headliner show, we will play quite a lot of those new tracks, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, and of course there's no shortage of songs now. I mean, with another new album
No, no,
compared to everything else in the back catalog, I mean, I imagine it's much harder to
yes,
put things together.
it is. It already was before this album, and now it's getting even more complicated. And yeah, this is sometimes a struggle actually. And usually our bass player Steven, he provides set lists for certain occasions where the time schedule fits in. And but there are always discussions, maybe change this song or the other one, and it's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, totally. But I know you guys will figure it out and already incorporating into the new material. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just me being so excited for the album. I can't wait for everyone else to be able to hear it, whether they're hearing it live for the first time and then they go pick up the album, or they're hearing the singles, then they'll check out the album. Whatever the case is, it's so cool to see this album cycle happening and so many great
Yeah.
opportunities for the band that's going on right now too. With after the release of the album, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of shows planned for this year. We already had like the first month of touring with Feuerschwanz in Germany, and we have like playing like tons of festivals this year. And at the end of the year, we're doing some more touring with Feuerschwanz. And I think at the beginning of the year, I was making a schedule for all the dates, and I think it was around 40 dates or something. Especially after all the whole COVID thing, that's a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you go from like one extreme of being able to play some shows and touring to not being able to play at all to now 40 dates for an album cycle, I mean that
Yeah,
it really can be a lot, and of course, so much of those being the summer festival circuit as well too. Which is
yeah,
so much different than being able to play like smaller clubs or
yeah,
mid-sized
absolutely.
venues or whatever that's going to be. I mean, that's a whole different experience.
Yeah, I love both. I love the club shows. I love the big ones. It's always a lot of fun.
Oh,
And
totally.
yeah, yeah, and also what I figured out yesterday was that actually two of the guys in the band joined shortly before the pandemic. Patrick, our other guitar player, and Steven, our bass player. And until this last tour, we never had an actual tour together. We were playing shows, of course, festivals and so on, but not a tour where you're stuck in a bus and so on. And I think actually it also helped to uh, grow a bit more together as a band. I mean, we're good buddies anyway, but it was needed, I think, after this whole pandemic thing.
Oh yeah, and it's just good for the mental psyche too, because when either when you're
Absolutely.
stuck at home and especially when you are used to at least doing some kind of traveling for playing shows, just being able to get back out there and get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
familiarity back out there, or being able to see new crowds, new bands that have come up since the pandemic when you're doing festival shows or touring. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
good to experience live.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, of course, with so many great things that are going on audibly with this album, and of course visually with the music videos, uh, I gotta say this album cover that really showcases what the band is all about. Like this might be my favorite album cover you guys have put out so far. It just matches the music
Thank
so
you.
perfectly, and I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we also struggled with that one a bit at first, I think, on where to put which elements and so on. But it turned out pretty well, I think. Yeah, and also, as you said, I think it fits very well with the music.
Is any of that being incorporated into like the stage design or anything, or like the bass drum cover or anything like that, or are you guys
Um,
just doing the normal
it,
stuff?
no, I think that well, we tried to incorporate a little bit of that in the tour setup already, but we was a support band, so we didn't have that much space. But I think there's going to come a lot more with the coming upcoming festivals. Yeah, so we try to incorporate certain elements. Yeah,
Oh, very cool. And yeah, I'm
yeah,
just excited to see all of it. Like everything that's already been announced, everything that will be announced eventually, just everything for this album cycle. I'm just so
yeah,
excited for all of it. And I'm so glad to see everything is going in the right direction. Again, like we've talked about it already, just like
yeah,
the last few years of not being able to be able to showcase the band in the right light due to the pandemic and struggling with starting the album, and then all of a sudden that fire got lit
yeah.
and everything's going in the right direction. People are loving the single so far. I love the album from start to finish, and I can't wait for everything else to come up. I'm so glad to see everything is going down the right track, and I'm just so excited to see what's next.
Yeah, so are we. Well, yeah, thanks a lot for your kind words. I mean, we're glad that it's going well so far, and now next big step will be the release of the album on the 5th of July, and let's see what happens then.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I think if anything like the singles being released so far, and I'm so not used to watching reaction videos, but when I see people are reacting to a band that I love, being able to talk about them, and sometimes people are discovering them for the first time, sometimes they've been longtime fans. It's just so cool to see that online and getting that reaction, because usually in my position, I can't really talk to a lot of people about what I think of the new album yet because it's not
Mm.
out yet, and I can't get their
Yeah, yeah,
perspective. So it's
yeah.
just so cool to see all that stuff going on, and I've seen nothing but positive stuff, and it just makes me so happy because you guys more than deserve that.
Well, thank you very much. That's so kind.
Oh, absolutely. And I think with that, I think that's a great note to end on. I know it's a busy week for you guys right now. And of course, in a couple weeks from Friday, of course, the new album coming out, The Order of Fear. I love this album from start to finish, everything visually, audibly, and hearing the stories behind it as well. It gives me a newfound appreciation for it. I can't wait to show this interview off, show my review off when it gets closer to release dates and all that good stuff. And on the off chance you guys are able to make it back to North America, if there's a chance I'm able to see you guys on this album cycle, I'm definitely will try my best to be there.
Well, we would go there absolutely, but of course it's not that easy to go to the US or North America, US or Canada.
Oh yeah, I'm in Minnesota, so yeah,
Yes. Oh,
the U.S.,
US.
North America, all
Yeah,
that. Mhm.
yeah. It's not that easy to come over there, but we've never really played there apart from a few single shows, and
Yeah, Prog Power. Uh,
yeah, of course, yeah, it's
mhm,
not very nice festival in Atlanta, yeah,
mhm.
and I don't think there are any plans so far for the US, but we would love to play there.
Well,
Absolutely.
on the off chance it happens, I'd love to see it happen. But the fact that you're able to tour Europe the way that you are, and being able to tour with such great bands as you have been too, and of course the
Yeah.
festival circuit, I'm so glad to see that happen.
Yeah, so are we. So are we.
Oh. Oh, awesome. Well, I see my time's just about cut off, but I apologize for all the fanboying and stuff. This is one I've been wanting to do for such a long time, and I'm so glad to be able to talk to you about everything that's going on in your world right now. Of course, the album coming out 2 weeks from today. I can't promote this album enough, and I'll definitely be promoting it more. And I know times are busy right now, so I thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in your world right now.
You're very welcome. Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And likewise, again, it truly means a lot. I'm so glad I was able to do this and be able to talk to you and have a great conversation. Again, I know things are busy, so I'll let you go. But again, one last time, thank you so much for the album. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice day too.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.